This is insane. This can't be really happening. It knows which one it is. It's the multimeter card. It knows the one that's broken. How can it know? How can it possibly know? No. He what? Can you just fix it? What's happening? What is happening? It's doing it. I've covered Home Assistant a lot on this channel, and there are two barriers that stop people bothering with it. The first one is they can't be bothered to put a Raspberry Pi together. And we've solved that one already. You can go watch a video here where I'll talk all about how it is you can install Home Assistant on an old laptop that you've got in a drawer, or a mini PC for very little money indeed, and actually a lot more power than a Raspberry Pi. But the other barrier is quite simply the fact that people just don't know what to do once Home Assistant is installed. What if I told you you can now talk to Home Assistant like it was a person? You could just say to Home Assistant, I want you to set up an automation, and the automation is going to do this, and Home Assistant will go and build the automation for you. Or you could say, Home Assistant, I want a dashboard. I want the dashboard to have these things on it, and I want it to look like this.
If you spent 2 years learning Home Assistant, you wasted your life because it's now sentient. I didn't make any of this. A robot did all of this. A robot made this entire dashboard, and now I'm questioning my existence.
Well, what if you could do that? That'd be more awesome than the awesome power of the Death Star.
Commence primary ignition.
Rob, we need to talk about... You don't need to wear that. You pull a lever for a living, Rob. You're basically an office admin. Is everything all right at home? It can't be easy to get around even wearing that, can it? The Emperor says, get your desk cleared out by the end of the day. Sorry, Rob. I have never seen anything like this. Let me start out by saying this is not sponsored in any way, and I have no affiliation with the absolute genius who made this thing, the name of whom I have forgotten, but should probably remember for the rest of my life. I have put a little robot in Home Assistant, and it controls things, and it learns things, and it knows things that I could never possibly learn or know. It is absolutely phenomenal, and if you have ever thought about using Home Assistant, go and install it now and get this thing plugged in. It took me less than 10 minutes to get it working. If you have the Hacks store already, it really is a case of downloading a repository and installing it. If you don't have Hacks already, there's a video here which will tell you how to install Hacks. Very, very straightforward to do. And once you've got Hacks installed in Home Assistant, you can download and install this thing and save yourself so much pain and anguish when it comes to utilizing Home Assistant going forwards. This bastardization of Home Assistant is a Russian intelligence agency mind control device so that they can listen to your thoughts through your light bulbs. No, it isn't. We're going to talk about the security aspect of this shortly, but just bear in mind, the intelligence behind this thing is called Big Pickle. Big Pickle! Big Pickle. Big Pickle! Big Pickle. Big Pickle. I've been touting the benefits of Home Assistant now for years. The idea that you could have something entirely local within your property without being reliant on Jeff flipping Bezos for everything, without having to use your voice to turn lights on as you enter a room, with having everything under your control. And a lot of people, they set it up for the first time following maybe my tutorial or somebody else's, and then they are immediately overwhelmed because it is so flipping complicated. Let me show you something. When you first start out with Home Assistant, you get something like this. You've put in your devices and you get things like living room, kitchen, bedroom, whatever, and all of your devices are in there, but Now what do you do? And the answer is, well, you have to go to settings and then into automations, and then you have to learn the very complicated process of how to set up the if this happens, then make a thing happen. What if, instead, you'd basically got ChatGPT right here? So this is called OpenCode, and basically you can type into this anything. This is easily the wackiest thing I have ever seen. Check this out. I want you to build me a smart home automation for my dining room. In there are 3 presence sensors and a whole bunch of different lights. And what I want is that when I walk into the room, I want the lights to come on, but only the main lights and the dining room lights, not the lights that are wrapped around the stairs. If Theo is asleep. You should be able to tell if Theo is asleep because his waterfall sounds will be playing. If I walk into that room and Theo is not asleep, I want the stair lights to come on too. I only want these lights to come on if they are required, so if it is bright outside, a sunny day, I don't want the lights to come on. I want that to be so that if the sun is really bright, they don't come on. Otherwise, I do want them to come on. Finding dining room entities, presence sensors, lights, Theo's waterfall, brightness sensors, creating dining room presence automation, searching for the entities, it's found stair lights, Theo waterfall sound, outdoor brightness, illuminant sun. It's figuring all of this out, and I am not doing a single thing. So it's got 3 questions for me. Is light.bottom of the stairs lights the right entity for the stairs lights? Use sensor dining room presence sensor light level as brightness proxy. Threshold around 300 lux? Sure, I guess. If lights are already on when you walk in, skip or leave as is. This is insane. It clarifies, it asks questions. It says, wait a minute, I can't find this entity. Do you mean this thing? The answer was yes, which is insane because it was called Christmas lights. How on earth it figured out the Christmas lights were actually on the staircase these days and I just hadn't renamed it is anybody's guess. It is that clever. I've done so many things with this, from creating dashboards off the back of just blah, 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 blah. And every time I went, I don't quite like that, I've gone back to it and had the back and forth conversation in which it asks me questions. How is it now? You could just move that there. Could you move that there? And then it moves. You're literally having a conversation. One of the 3 presence sensors for the dining room is missing. Add it in where it belongs.
A few minutes later.
Ah, there it is. It's added it. It's not in the right place though. It should be over here somewhere. But yeah, that's that's how I'm adding stuff. Okay. It's not where I want it to be. You have put it below the camera feed. I would like it to be with the other presence sensors to the right of the camera feed. There it is. What? I just can't believe how good that is.
And now, a word from our sponsor, Ugreen. Reginald, you're a content creator that wears silly wigs and makes up benign catchphrases to attract an audience of people that hasn't realized you haven't got a personality yet, aren't you?
Home Assistant!
Yes, you are. And you've been charging your studio lights without a fast charger and quickly running out of power like a complete imbecile, haven't you? Weighing in at just 111 grams, the brand new Nexode Air GAN fast charger is 70% smaller than regular 65-watt chargers. So this is a proper fast charger that supports PD, BPS, and QC fast charging that will slide comfortably into your tiny little slot. Reginald! Reginald, you are a half-witted boob! Boob is not funny! This thing is tiny. How do those boffins at Ugreen do it? Well, that's all down to the latest GAN Infinity TM chipset, which is producing superior power for less heat. Reginald here has been using a competitor product which has overheated and resulted in nuclear war. It's what happens. It's what happens if you overheat a chart. It's what happens. Stop using inferior competitor products, Reginald! But what's this? A 10,000 milliamp hour 15 watt ultra slim QI2 wireless fast charger from those exact same boffins? Just 13.9 millimeters thick, this is flight safe, travel friendly, and can charge up to 3 devices simultaneously. One from its wireless pad, one from the built-in cable, and another from its USB-C port. What would happen if you put a phone on the wireless charging pad and then still plugged in the USB-C cable? Reginald, wait! Check out Ugreen's new range of air products in the link in the description below to supercharge your life with super compact power on the go. And now, back to our main feature.
Honestly, it's that good. It's not perfect. We'll talk about how it's not perfect towards the end, but yeah, it asks questions and it does all these things. Done. Created 2 UI editable automations, one that turns the dining room lights on when entering and one that turns them off when empty. It's done all of the things I asked it to do. Apparently, let's go find out if it's really there. Settings, automations and scenes, dining room. Dining room lights on when entering. When all dining room presence sensors group changes to on. So it's found the dining room presence sensors group, which is all of the different presence sensors. And if the dining room presence light is below 300, and if the dining room main light is off. So if it's already off, do it, but only if it's below 300 lux. Perform that action, turn on the dining room lights, turn on all dining room lights except dining room main lights, conditionally execute an action if the baby waterfall sound is off, then turn on the stairs Christmas light. Mind-blowing! It did it in under 10 minutes. Absolutely mind-blowing.
Why do you always have to be this way? Look at me! I don't want to hear any excuses!
So we're going to get onto the security aspect of all this in just a second, but I've literally just used it again just this second. So as I was coming over here, I did the usual thing and I asked Amazon Alexa to load up studio mode. And studio mode loads all these lights up into a different configuration for filming, and it changes the screen at the back here to loading a YouTube video which plays a spaceship thing. Has been in place for months and months and months and months, and about 2 or 3 weeks ago, all of a sudden, out of the blue, that didn't work anymore. It started loading up the login screen for YouTube instead of a video, and I have literally no idea why. Thanks, YouTube. You obviously had an update and f***ed me in the ass. So I just went over to OpenCode and said, here's my problem, this is what's happening, what can we do about it? And it just went, try it again now. That was it, fixed it. It just altered the lines of code so that it worked. I have no idea how. I couldn't have done it. I would have probably spent weeks doing that, but it did it in 10 seconds. That's how good it is, seriously. But anyway, on to security. So, who is Big Pickle?
Do you want to play rough? Okay. No. Say hello to my little friend.
Big Pickle is the engine behind all this on the internet. So, OpenCode on your Home Assistant instance talks to a server on the internet to do all the figuring out and then comes back to you and does its thing. It is all acting that way. The thing on the internet can't come this way and make requests and do stuff to your Home Assistant. Home Assistant makes the request to the server and then you get a reply back. So the only way somebody could screw this up for you and infiltrate your system would be if they had hacked the server at the other end, you had made a request and it had fired back something dangerous, which, I mean, I don't know if that's even feasible. Let me know in the comments if you're a big security analyst and you think that it is. But the thing is, you don't need to use Big Pickle.
Big Pickle!
You can replace Big Pickle with ChatGPT. You can replace Big Pickle with Gemini. Whatever it is that you trust, you can replace the engine with that thing and it will go and ask that thing instead. The nice thing is, Big Pickle works straight out of the box without any additional configuration and currently, at time of filming, doesn't cost anything. So it's entirely free and I've been using it for 3 days now, doing some absolutely incredible things in Home Assistant.
Look at what you have done!
So, if you're concerned about security, I wanted to be completely open with you. There is a server on the internet you don't have control of, which is talking to Home Assistant, and some people will be terrified by that. In my opinion, it's only terrifying if you don't trust the thing on the internet, and I do. I don't know who Big Pickle is, but I trust them. Maybe that's me being a complete moron. Use ChatGPT. In seriousness, if you are already using Gemini or ChatGPT to fix things for you and you're having lengthy conversations with them about how do I convince my kid to go to sleep, or I'm having problems in my relationship, how do I convince my wife to sleep with me? If you're doing that already, you probably don't have a lot more to worry about. You are already telling people on the internet things about your personal life, and you are trusting a robot to not give that information to a human being. If you're okay with doing that, you're okay with doing this. That's the end of it. Plus, what are they going to do? Turn your lights on and off. Big Pickle! I think there are only two other things I should probably say. The first one is, I take no responsibility for any of this. If this thing eats your Home Assistant, I am not to blame, okay? So please bear in mind, this is as powerful as it gets. You are throwing an AI assistant at your Home Assistant going, go nuts, do whatever you want. Might not be the best idea if you don't know at least some of what you're being asked. If it asks you questions like, do you want to overwrite this thing? If you say yes, it will. It will overwrite that thing. It is very, very powerful, and it could be destructive if you're not careful. Back stuff up before you make any major changes. That's super, super important. But I've been using this now for a full week, and I have had so many things happen, and not one of them has been negative. This has been one of the greatest experiences I've had so far, and again, not sponsored. I just love this thing, and I'm super excited about it. The final thing I wanted to say was that it can remember things. It just doesn't by default. If you say, what did we do yesterday? It'll go, I don't know. You need to tell it to remember things. You can actually give it the command, remember things, and it will write stuff to a YAML file in your Home Assistant instance, and you can then tell it, read from that file before we do anything, and anything you tell it going forwards, it will remember, and it will do those things. So that's a really good idea. Do that. I've used this thing to ask questions about my Zigbee network and my Thread network, and to look at Home Assistant logs and tell me how come that just happened. I've used it to do all sorts of really cool stuff with dashboards and automations. If you are struggling in any way to utilize Home Assistant, whether you're a beginner or somebody like me who's been using it for years, this thing is mind-blowingly good. If you're interested in doing this yourself, I shall leave a link in the description to some instructions as to how I achieved it. If you want to hit me up on PayPal or Patreon, seriously, it'd be a huge deal for me. Or at the very least, just hit the subscribe button and ding the bell. Then you get to see more of me, and I get to see more of you, and YouTube's algorithm stops f***ing me up the ass. There's that phrase again. Ugh. All that's left to do is to thank these incredible people running up your screen. They're my patrons from Patreon, and Keith Bleakley, my latest patron. Seriously, guys, without you, I wouldn't be able to do this for a living, and neither would Nisha. These are my Facebooks, my X, my Threads, my Instagrams, my social medias. Come and hang out there. I can be net best friends. See you next time. So professional.